Hello, my name is Ishan Shanavas and I'm a fourth year ASP student at Ashoka. I write a blog and weekly newsletter on all the things that interest me, and on Instagram I share educational content about the environment along with my photography and art. My first book, The Light of Wilder Things, is going to be published in the next few months, and it's a memoir about my life searching for nature and wildlife as a teenager. In this video, I'm going to share with you a few books that have really influenced me. My first book is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. It's one of two presidential memoirs. Now, whatever your politics, you'll probably agree that Barack Obama was one of the most consequential and influential figures in recent history. His rise to the US presidency was one based on hope and change, something that we could all use in our current times. This book talks about his time in local politics and how his desire to create an impact got him into what would become one of the fastest journeys to the US presidency. And once he got there, he had to deal with one of the worst financial crises in recent history. There is no playbook for such a thing where every decision you take can affect millions. This book really showed me how leaders evaluate and take such decisions where none of the options are great. When you watch Obama speak, he has this very calm and confident persona. But this book takes you under the hood. It shows his more human and vulnerable side. In it, he admits his mistakes, which is something that you don't see from many world leaders. It's a rare and intimate look into the life of someone who, to borrow the words of Martin Luther King Jr., put his hand on the arc of history and bent it towards a better future. At its core, it's the story of a man who wanted to change the world and what that journey really entailed. It's a big book, it's around 700 pages, but that's because he sets the context behind everything that happened. And it's a very easy read, intended for beginners, young people. I hope to meet him someday. The next book is Wildfire by Valmik, Thapar. Now, I'm someone who's deeply passionate about the natural world, and therefore I read extensively about wildlife. And I found that the best way to get a broad understanding of the space is to read an anthology where you get different perspectives. Now, Valmik Thapar has done the mammoth task of compiling writings about Indian wildlife from different time periods, from different geographies, and from different species. This book moves beyond the tiger, something that sort of hogs the spotlight in India, and talks about creatures like the leopard, the Asian elephant, the one-horned rhinoceros, the gaur, and much more. It has stories from the tropical Western Ghats all the way up to the Himalayas, and it has writings from Mughal times all the way to more recent times with authors like George Schaller, A.J.T. Johnson, M. Krishnan, Ullas Karant, and so much more. In fact, even the illustrations and photographs that accompany these writings are exquisite. I often return to this book. The third book I have is a popular work of fiction called All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Now, we live in a world that has been greatly influenced by the world wars. But now, 70 years after the second one, we often forget how significant this time was, what a stain it is on human history. This book traces the life of two characters, a blind girl in France and a gifted orphan in Germany, and it is set in those times. It's a very interesting read. It sort of alternates between these two characters and their life stories, giving you just enough to keep you hooked and waiting to see how their lives intertwine. As you read the book, you sort of fall in love with these characters, and therefore, once they get affected by the war, you truly get a sense of what it must have been like to live during those times. This book also talks about the transformative power of the radio. Now, in our current times with phones and laptops and so on, it's easy to forget what a transformative technology this was. In fact, much of the tech behind the device that you're watching this video on was influenced by the radio. And so this book really showed me what a wonder it is that right now, at this very moment, there are terabytes of data just traveling around me invisibly, riding the airwaves across the globe. There's a very interesting line in this book that I have to mention here. It goes, "Open your eyes and see what you can with them before they close forever." Think about it. The last book I have over here is called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Now, we live in a world gripped by the cult of the genius. This idea that all these top performers in their fields are at the top because of some God-given inherent talent. This book really dismantles that argument. The author, Angela Duckworth, is a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, and she studies the psychology of success. Her research shows that all these top performers, regardless of the field, are at the top because they have two qualities in common. They have passion and they have perseverance. She shows that you can have all the talent in the world and still not achieve your potential, or conversely, you can have little talent and still achieve great things. What you need is grit, the ability to stay focused and dedicated to one cause for a long period of time. This could be years. Crucially, her research shows that grit can change with time and that it can be developed, meaning people like me and people like you can become gritty and therefore achieve great things. That makes it a very empowering read, one that I return to often. I have a bonus book over here. It's called The Atlas of Beauty by a Romanian photographer named Mihaela Noroc. Now, this isn't a work of literature. It's a compilation of 500 portraits of women from across the globe. This project was undertaken by Mihaela Noroc to show that feminine beauty goes far beyond the conventional standards set by popular media. It has portraits of women of different nationalities, ethnicities, and ages, showing that we are all beautiful, something that we could all really embody in our current times. And as a portrait photographer myself, I can say that some of the photographs in it are exquisite. So these are the books that I had to share with you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope there was something in it for you.